Guys, welcome back to Men of the Spirit. Today is by far my most action-packed video yet. I'm shooting some omilu, hitting some kumu, of course cleaning the roy off the reef, getting some taco and uhu. Perfect conditions, crystal clear water, and of course you got to break out the 3-prong to get some kole, king kole, and mempachi. This fish is going towards feeding the local families and making sure people are well fed for Thanksgiving. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and read your Bibles. Shoots!
Whoa.
Just look at that water. Man, conditions are unreal today. So I get in, I load my gun. I see a kumu from the top, so I switch out my gun for my 3-prong. And this guy comes right in, a fat boy. If I knew how big this guy was, I probably would have kept my gun and just shot him. But I hit him and I didn't brain him, so he got away. Sadly, I'm waiting here trying to see if he'll come back out, and he never did. My dive buddy, Jericho, super cool guy. Just started diving with him because he's been coming out to church. I put a little segment at the end here of how he found my videos. He saw my church invite at the end. He came out to church, and we just got to talk, and now we've been diving together. He misses a fish, or actually he hit a moo, but then it rips off. I go down to get his shaft, and I find this mempachi hole, so I pick one and bring him up. Now this zone I know super well. This is my probably all-time favorite spot to dive on Maui, but a super secret zone. This is just found by exploring. Can't drive here, you gotta just walk and hope for the best. And this is a part of the island that is almost never diveable, but on the right conditions you just have an extremely nice day. So I get to dive this spot like a few times a year, and today it just happened to be absolutely killer. So this spot's always loaded. If the water's clear, you're gonna be able to get huge mempachi, huge kole, and of course, like you see in the video, a ton of other fish. Here we see a nice fat uhu, and it's Jericho's turn to drop. So he drops down on it, and he's just waiting, grunting, scratching the reef, textbook, and just hits it. Now you guys know these fish rip off super easy, so I don't want to just blast a backup shot into the reef. So I swim back to the buoy, grab my 3-prong, and give it a backup shot. Here a huge school of Moana Kali swim under me. It had to be at least 3 or 4 3-pounders. These guys were huge, and Jericho drops down, and he's actually going for an omilu. He told me later that he missed the omilu, but he ends up hitting the second biggest Moana Kali in the school. You'll see this thing's pretty big, but there's a bigger one that swims by. I think I might have got it on film. I'm not sure. We'll see here in a second. But this thing is giant. So I drop down and brain it just so it doesn't try and make a run for it. You know, you never know you have the fish until it's on the kui. Even then, you gotta wait till you're out of the water before you really have it. But I go down, brain it, bring it back up, so that way it's nice and secure. So Jericho's got these two nice fish, and I got a couple Mimpachi, and I see this fat moo in the distance. I'm trying to hide behind some coral and call him in. He just never comes in. So I see Kole while I'm down there, so I get the 3-prong and I start shooting some Kole. And if you see in the distance, I just pointed to it, there's some king Kole right there. So I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta get me some king Kole, which is really good eating. Now again, this zone is loaded with king Kole. I always see it whenever I dive here, but just one is good for me, so I'm just gonna grab one. I'll load up on more regular Kole, but just one king Kole is good for me. Here's another drop. Sometimes what I do is I'll leave my gun on the buoy most of the times, but sometimes when I realize I'm switching out gun and 3-prong a lot, I'll just take my gun down with me and either drop the 3-prong if I see a moo or uku or something, or I'll drop the gun and get the 3-prong and get some Kole or Mimpachi, something like that. So let me know what you like better in the comments. If you like 3-prong more, if you like gun more. I think just different days, different fun. Meanwhile, Jericho gets another uhu, so he's maxed out on uhu for the day. The bag limit is 2, and I like to follow that Justin Lee rule. It's just kind of a unspoken rule. You'll hear Justin Lee talk about it, where other than fish fry like Mimpachi and Kole and other types of fish, just take 5 of your favorite reef fish. So, you know, there's some exceptions like Roy. Roy harmed the reef, so you could shoot however many you want of Roy. I think Nanui are an exception. Here, I just shot a Nanui right here, but just because they're so plentiful. I mean, there's so many Nanui. And it's not really like a trophy fish. You know, it tastes really good when you make poke. It tastes super, super ono, but, you know, I think really it's like Omilu, Mu, Uku, Moanakali, Kumu, and, you know, some other fish as well. But you'll see today we followed that rule of just each of us taking 5 or less, with the exception of fish fry. And if you don't follow that rule, that's up to you. That's totally your choice. I mean, we have fishing laws for a reason, so there's already a sustainable way to make sure there's enough fish for everyone. But, you know, there's some times where you can just catch a ton of fish, and if you're not going to eat it or feed it to someone, give it away, I mean, there's not really a point in catching it other than it's just fun. So it is a pretty cool rule. Here's a nice Roy. He was swimming away from us. As you saw, I dove down under that reef and stoned him. My shaft didn't even go all the way through, and I was able to pull him out, so super stoked on that one. Right after, before I even finished loading my gun, I see this nice Omilu swimming right under me. So I dive straight down, I start scratching the reef and grunting really hard. He straight turns around, beelines it right to me, but he's a little above me, so I don't really like shooting upwards like this, but I was able to hit him in the gill plate and get a nice shot that held. Here Jericho's diving, and he hits this Polani, ends up coming up with it, and a really great fish for fish tacos. Here I see an uhu, so I take a dive behind this coral. You'll see I'm trying to hide myself from it. As soon as I come up, you can see it right there. I aim, take a shot, and sadly this uhu rips off, swims under this really big boulder, never to be seen again. A little bit later, I see another fat uhu, and there's a ledge right here. So I go ahead and dive down and hide behind this ledge. I creep up to it. I'm grunting, I'm scratching the reef. I'm gonna get right in between that hole right there so they can't see me at all. And I get this nice spot for it to come right in out of curiosity. You'll see there's a blue there, but can't shoot the blues. Gotta wait for this red. Boom. So same thing, this one runs for it, but I got a nice holding shot, so I know that uhu's right there under the coral. So I grab my 3-prong and I go over to it. If you could see, there's actually a fat taco right on top of it. So I'm gonna dive down and I'm gonna go for some taco and try and secure my uhu right here. The ooze all tangled up, so I go ahead and let it be, and I just come up with the taco and the 3-prong, and I'm gonna go back down, stone the uhu, and secure it. And here's the catch for the day. Got uhu, taco, omilu, roy, nanui, kole, king kole, another kole, menpachi, and that's a good catch. And Jericho's coming out with 2 uhus, a nanui, a fat moana kali, a palani. At our exit point, there was this little cave. When the surge came in, the air shot through the rock, the little holes in the rock, and actually started making bubbles in the water. And you could hear the air coming through the cracks right here whenever the surge came out. I just thought that was super cool one to record it.
Yeah, so I was watching Chris's videos, you know. I was seeing how he was diving and stuff like that, and then I seen the flyer at the end of the video to go to church, and I realized we was on the same island, so I was like, dude, I gotta go, you know. He's following God, I want to get deeper in my faith with God, and so then went to church, and now we're diving together, man. I know there's a lot of people that would get mad if you like disrespect or go the wrong way.
Yeah.
It's not really like that in Florida, so I just try to be as respectful as I possibly can, and I don't feel like I can know how to be respectful to the land if I just go out and do stuff on my own.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of local guys that will teach about how to be respectful, and honestly, it's just common sense. Just like, don't take more than you need. Be nice to everybody. It's just what Jesus teaches. Even be nice to the people that are mean to you. And at the end of the day, like, even if people respect that or not, it's the right thing to do, you know.
Let's go. All right, now it's time for our 1 minute with God. Today we're talking about overlooking offenses. Proverbs chapter 19, verse 11 says, "A man's wisdom gives him patience. It is to his glory to overlook an offense." For me, in my sinful nature, I don't want to just get even. I want to get better than even. So I want to make sure that the people that hurt me or the people that intentionally cross me never do that again. But when I read this scripture, I realize it's actually to my own glory to overlook an offense. So if someone hurts me, or even if it's my wife unintentionally, or my brother or my friend, they hurt me, instead of getting back at them and losing out on that glory that God has for me, if I forgive them from my heart, God actually has a reward for me, which is glory. So we do have to follow Matthew 18. If someone sins against us, we go and we talk to them. We don't go gossip and slander about it. But if you're able to just forgive them from your heart, that's to your own glory. And that's our 1 minute with God.
We have D instead of.
Yeah. Oh yeah.